Word.
Contract does say that all union business must be conducted off of city time. However, there is that clause in there that if we are necessary, that we need them there, that they are directed to attend.
Thank you. So it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion on the part of the council? Mr. Duranko.
Can you repeat that, please? That last motion that you made pertaining to, was that just AFSCME that was involved with that?
No, all.
So you're saying like right now I couldn't be here?
Compensation. Taking time off.
Just meetings, or are we talking grievance meetings, all this, all above?
Well, unless directed by,
By who?
I have to find the motion from, it was back from when Carolyn Gentilini was mayor.
So is this also going to fall underneath for IFF and MAPE?
Everybody,
Everybody.
All right, thanks.
you're welcome. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Motion number 2.
I'd like to make a motion to direct Brian to set a negotiation session for AFSCME.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Motley and supported by Councillor Johnson to set a negotiation session with AFSCME with a date to be forthcoming. It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Anything else to come before council today? The committee of the whole meeting? Okay, we will adjourn the committee of the whole meeting. It is 11 a.m. And we will move right into the special meeting of the committee of the whole, which is scheduled for today, immediately following. Okay, let me get my thoughts together until you get. Okay, let me know when you're ready. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Pam. I will call this special committee of the whole meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. The time is 11:01 a.m., which is scheduled to immediately follow the committee of the whole meeting. The item is to discuss the proposed general fund levy and the city budget for fiscal year 2024, with 2 items on the addendum to discuss curbside recycling program for 2024 and discuss a second lead recreation assistant at the Arlington Memorial Event Center. And just for the, as we move forward with this budget, for those who are in attendance and those who are listening at home, that we are looking to put forth to the City Council meeting on December the 12th, a final levy to be formally adopted from this committee of the whole meeting. And you have the paperwork in front of you, and as we move forward with this, we'll be looking at making a motion to effectively move forward a dollar amount for the levy, which equates to a percentage, but we'll be asking for a dollar amount. And that could change between now and on December the 12th if decisions are made today on other factors involving the budget. So item number 1, Britt. So we're going to be discussing the general fund levy.
And city budget for fiscal year 2024. So in your packet, we've given you, I believe, every breakdown as well as the overview of the revenues and the expenditures. And then we also gave you the page showing you the reductions that were made from our last meeting. We were at 21%. We are now down to 8.19%.
All right, thank you. So as we look at this, 8.19%, looking at the reductions that are suggested to be proffered to set the final levy at 8.19% moving forward to the council meeting with a recommended dollar amount to be proffered in the resolution, an amount of $434,052 increase. 2023 budget was $5,296,843, looking for an 8.19% increase, which equates to $434,052 for 2024 budget allocation moving forward for the general fund levy to be formally adopted on December 12th in the amount of $5,730,895. And we also are discussing item A and B, and that number could change as a result of what we discuss under item A and B. Is that correct, Britt? Okay, thank you. Council? As we look through the proposed budget and the cuts that were made from 21% down to what is now 8.19%, and once again equating to a dollar amount of $434,052 increase over 2023. Councillor Paulson, and then over to Councillor Motley.
Mayor, so if we could go under miscellaneous on I think it's page 3, and under the Lakes Trail Fund, we just transferred in $20,000 a couple months ago, I think, for Lakes beautification. And I don't think the Lakes beautification has met in a couple years. So I'm wondering why we are allocating that in there.
As part of the LCCMR grant, we committed the Lakes beautification funding of $20,000 for the Silver Lake Trail projects.
And how long was our commitment?
We have one more phase, which is the floating bridge.
Okay. So so that 20,000 is spoken for on a
Correct.
commitment that we have
So it's not handed to them, it's used by us to finish that project.
Okay, then again, under the miscellaneous, could I get an explanation regarding the 2 cemeteries, Calvary and Greenwood, and did we have any further discussion on that and why we were continuing to fund or what the recommendation would be?
And as we discussed that, I think if we eliminate the allocation that we give to the cemetery, particularly the Calvary Cemetery, if there's no funding for them to work, then those, of course, the sextons doesn't work anymore, and there's nobody working there. Then the city's obligated or required to take over the maintenance of that cemetery.
Okay, so that does need to stay in there, I guess. And then under I had one other one. So when we put under the cable TV, the $48,200, that is to, with our contract with our Steve Roccola, that's correct. Now, when I go to the other revenues, we should be funding that out of the franchise fees. What line item would I find that under? Would it be under fees and fines? Is it lumped in?
No, the franchise fees is going to be under, I think it's 229. It's a separate fund. So
And where would I find
we're
that?
doing the general fund right now.
But yes, it is part of the fees and fines.
But it would be allocated under a revenue because it is a general fund revenue, right?
A portion of it is general fund, so it'd be under revenue.
Yep, so on the other revenue, when I'm looking at other revenue, is that, I just want to make sure that we're accounting for that, because our franchise fees actually are more than, I believe, what we are paying out to Steve Roccola. Is that correct?
We've had a discussion about this, and we haven't received payment in for our rental of our equipment in a timely fashion, so that's another discussion.
Sure.
But yes, you're right, it is in fees and fines. And
So that it's lumped into under fees and fines.
Yep.
And then is the reason that that number is in the red is because we're expecting less of those fees and fines? Because it appears that it's 15.4% in the negative.
on your page, Sherry, page 2.
No, that is not. I highlighted some areas in red because that was council action wanting to take out the youth in action of 500. And that is actually in there because there was a motion made by Councilor Little Wolf a few years back that would be part of the budget. The same with the lakes beautification, $20,000. That was a motion made by Don Cipolla, who was a councilor then, and that's always been in.
The revenue page. On the revenue page, why are fees and fines red?
So no, those are just areas that I highlighted personally. They're not in the red as far as negative. There's no parentheses around them. If you add up the total other revenues, it's going to total under total other revenues at 12 million.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comparison between the 2023 budget, fees and fines budgeted was 389,850. Now, what's budgeted for 24 is 15.4% decrease, and the total is 329,750. I'm wondering why that is decreasing.
What I do when I do the budget, I take year-to-date, actual, and I see where we are and how we're meeting our budget proposed for 2023. We came short. The fines and fees include more than just the cable.
No, right.
I was wondering why it's short. Yeah, why is it decreasing?
I just wanted
It
to know.
didn't come up to what we had
So
expected.
329,750 is our actual.
That's our proposed for next year,
But
based on
you're
what
taking that from 2023 actual where we're at.
right we're at. Yeah.
And then the other, is there any other way that we could cut anything else under that miscellaneous? So now what I've been saying is every 60,000 we can cut, it's 1%. Now that the number has gone to 5.7, is that every 57,000, that's 1%. So is there anywhere else that you feel that we can cut any more? And when I had emailed you, Sherry, I wanted the breakdown of what that debt levy percentage was, and it's 16.8, is that correct? 16.8%?
Roughly 16.8. I included everything in there, the 64,000.
And then on top of that debt levy of already 16.8%, we would be adding an additional 8.19 to the total of, it looks like it's got 25%.
And I go by the dollar amount. So when we do the resolution, it's not going to be a percentage. It's going to be to the state that we need 434,000. And this is our debt service levy. This is the dollar amount. This is already you're committed to.
Right. So, and then I have one just last question. I'm sure I'll have more as we go on. But in terms of that bond payment for the public safety, that's at the 1.1 million approximately annually. And it may go down based upon our bond rating and the, or not our, I mean, on the, USDA length of time on the, I don't know, what's the interest? It's already set up, I think. So it'll be around that. But then does that increase every year our debt levy, or once we approve that at that 16.1, as long as we're not adding anything additional, the following year it's zeroed out unless we take on any additional debt?
Any additional debt that would be paid for by levy. There is debt that's not paid for by levy.
Right.
So any levy debt, yes.
Any levy debt. But as long as we don't, so you're taking a kind of a one-time hit.
Correct. The first
in
year's
2024.
really awful. Yes. then it'll just be on there.
Okay, that's what I'm trying
And
to
then as
understand.
things fall off, it will drop.
It will drop.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And then if there would be someone that could explain on that spreadsheet, what is that discrepancy number from the county, and that actually can lower your taxes?
Fiscal disparities.
Fiscal disparities.
Yes.
Can someone maybe possibly explain that?
I may have to find information for you about
Okay.
that. I do know that the higher you levy, the more fiscal disparities you get. So it's kind of that balance that you get. The fiscal disparities is for those that don't, like us, who don't have enough levy to cover our entire budget, which we don't.
Right.
We know that. So that's what that fiscal spirit is used for, but the actual term I have to look it up, I'm sorry.
So if you could maybe just help
Yeah.
us at our next meeting, that
Yeah,
would be.
definitely.
That would be great. So anyway, I was still looking to see how we could shave off a couple more percentage points, but that's all I had for now, question-wise. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor Paulson. Counselor Motley.
Was items A and B put on the proposed 2024 budget?
It's not on, well, we still have those in place.
No.
I mean, we're talking about them right now.
Item 1A, we did propose reducing recycling. This is general fund budget we're talking about at the moment, because we're talking about general fund levy.
Yeah, we'll do the A and B.
In the solid
after.
waste fund, we did remove the 2 employees, and we put them into the general fund. So that this general fund does include those 2 employees.
Okay.
No longer being allocated from solid waste and put in there. And then additionally, Ironton Motors Event Center is also a special revenue fund, so it's not part of the general fund. But in that budget, it is planned for the second recreation assistant to be included.
Okay. And then when I'm looking at percents here, the city has it cut down at the general levy of 8.19.
Correct.
And then you add the roughly 16.8 that we can't do anything, the debt percent or whatever. That puts us at 20, if I'm doing this right, 24.99% levy.
That's not necessarily the increase, because if it was debt that was already accounted for, it's already there.
You have to account for the
Only
bond
the
that we
new
have.
debt is the increase.
And right, the 1.1
Yes,
million.
that's the only increase, yes.
Right, which the overwhelming city agreed to move forward on. Okay, I would also like to see that 8.19 move down, but thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor Motley. So, any other questions from the council? Staff, any questions? So we have to set the final levy for the general fund on December the 12th. The recommendations by staff is that we have, we move this general fund levy forward to the council meeting on December the 12th for final adoption coming from this committee of the whole meeting. And the recommendation at this point, unless things change between now and the 12th, that the request by staff, based on an 8.19% levy increase, is that they're looking for, to move to the council for final approval and discussion, a dollar amount to increase the general fund levy of $434,052. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. So the question that I have is, there's a little silence in the room as we look through this. So by moving this forward, based on that dollar amount, included in this, is that the transfer of the 2 employees from the curbside recycling into the general fund, correct?
Correct,
That's already in there.
correct.
And then also the second lead recreation assistant at the Ironton Motors Event Center, is that also in there?
Not in the general fund, in the special revenue fund.
In the special revenue fund, excuse me, I apologize for that, that change. Okay, thank you. So you're looking for a motion potentially moving this forward with that dollar amount, is that correct?
We don't need one today because
don't
December
need
12th
one.
is the truth and taxation hearing.
We'll just move it to the, okay, thank you. The truth and taxation on the 12th. No motion has to be proffered.
Not for that, but I would like discussion about the termination of the curbside recycling program.
Yes.
And then also if we are able to hire the second lead recreation assistant at the Ironton Motors Event Center.
Okay, very good. And they're in the budget now.
They're in the budget now.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Paulson?
Thank you, Mayor. So with the rec assistant being transferred, or is it the lead rec or rec?
Lead rec.
Lead rec assistant being transferred, or that stays, that's in the,
Yes. It's already in the special revenue fund of the Iron Trail.
It's in the special revenue fund, so when you're looking at the line item with the transfer in, it's Fund 260?
Yep.
Is that included, that their wage included in the $985,000 transfer in?
It is, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Paulson. Councilor Johnson, I apologize, Councilor Johnson.
Thank you. So since we're on B, and I'm glad Brian's here because I remember some conversation about the second lead rec position. Is that a necessity, or were we going to relook at how that works, or?
We did.
Okay.
And it didn't work.
Okay.
We did try to, we spoke to our staff and asked them if any of them wanted to go to a set schedule, 20 hours. Two that applied, one couldn't, one moved, and the other one can't start till February 1st. So we are actually very short of recreation assistants, so it would behoove us to have somebody that is permanent, that is there more hours to do a lot of this stuff.
Great, thank you. So I guess I'll make a motion to leave that in moving forward as the budget already exists.
Councilor Johnson makes a motion to leave the second lead recreation assistant in the Iron Trail Memorial Event Center under item B. Correct? Is there support for that? Is there support? Is there support? Motion fails for lack of support. Item A, discuss the curbside recycling program for 2024. So you've already moved the 2 employees in under the budget, so they'll be working in there. So they're looking at what we're going to do with the curbside recycling. I did have a meeting with Commissioner Keith Nelson this morning. He was well aware of our budget discussions, and their county administration apparently has been watching our meetings and some of the comments that I made with respect to that. So we had discussion about that. And in addition, about the curbside recycling program, and he indicated that the county would be more willing to make any adjustments they need to add some additional stations for people to drop off the curbside recycling, should we choose to eliminate it. So just a little bit of information there moving forward. Councilor Johnson.
I would make a motion to direct staff to look at a plan for eliminating the curbside recycling and convert to site-based in the city of Virginia in cooperation with the county.
Okay, thank you. That's moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
I'd support that.
Support by Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Beyondich.
Just one item. So we have the drop-off down on south side, and we're still looking at something for up on north side, if that's possible, to put a bin up there.
That would be part of our plan.
What about Midway?
Midway, the landfill takes recycling when they're open during their hours.
Okay, thank you.
And Commissioner Nelson did indicate, should we want some additional stations, we decide to have them, they will provide the mechanisms for which us to provide that service to our constituents.
And I think it's important to remember that the reason why we brought this up is because the county and the city used to be in an agreement where they would pay us per tonnage, and that has not been in existence for the last 2 years, and they are not interested in entering into that agreement again. So we were getting money for this, and now we're not getting money anymore for this program.
Thank you. Okay, it has been moved and supported to direct staff. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Freely?
Just what's the estimated cost savings we'll have by removing? Like $1,000 a year, $10,000 a year, $300,000 a year? What are we? I mean, these employees will remain employed in a different capacity.
Correct. Can I answer that, Mayor?
Britt?
We'll be going down from $381,000 in salaries to $255,591 in solid waste, thereby not requiring the city to put money from the levy into solid waste.
Thank you. It has been moved and supported. Is there any other discussion?
Just wanted to add on to that, we also wouldn't be purchasing recycling trucks at the tune of 300 grand. And we also have an opportunity to sell our current vehicles and actually use that to recoup to help out.
Okay, so thank you. Then I just have one more quick question before we vote. So by doing so, and individuals we are not providing the curbside recycling anymore, and of course we always want to encourage recycling, encourage reducing the carbon footprint, all those kind of things. But in the event that does occur, and the individuals decide, I don't want to go to the curbside recycling, I don't want to go to the duty station, so they'll just throw it in the garbage, as part of that. So could that potentially increase the costs associated with us in our overall commitment to garbage by volume or garbage by weight at their landfill?
It could, but when I spoke with the St. Louis County, they did indicate to me that our pickup sites have seen a dramatic increase in use, drop-off sites have seen a dramatic increase in usage, including the landfill. So I suspect that most people aren't using our curbside because they're just dropping off when they.
Well, people that do recycle now will continue to recycle.
I hope so.
And then I've been using the one at the landfill for years, so it's been very handy for me when I was living in Midway. So thank you. So read back the motion, please, Pam, and then we'll ask for some additional discussion before we vote.
Moved by Councillor Johnson, supported by Councillor Motley, to approve the city staff to review a site-based location for drop-off of recycling items in the city of Virginia.
Councillor Johnson?
I'm wondering if part of that needs to be and eliminate the costs and adjust the budget appropriately. Would that, or is that just inherent in the?
I mean, we could add it, why not? I mean, it's documented.
Okay, and I would ask that we just add that and adjust the budget appropriately.
It is adjusted. You're talking about the special revenue funds or the enterprises down below here. Solid waste, it is in there.
Okay.
But it's not part of the general fund. We're hoping that these enterprises will actually start zeroing out or maybe even making something where the general fund could transfer funds.
It would go the other direction. Okay. I'm fine with it then.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good. And so that way we don't have to transfer money into the general fund. It's a win-win. So it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, there's no other items to come before the special committee of the whole meeting. We will move to the next council meeting, which is December 12th at 5:30? 5:30 p.m. for the truth in taxation, where we will set the final levy. Pardon? We'll have this council meeting at 5:30 and technically adopt the final levy at 6:01 p.m. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. No items that come before the special committee of the whole meeting today. We stand adjourned. It is 11:25, and I know that Sherry and Britt have a bond call for the public safety building at noon.
And you as well. We need you.
And me as well.
At 12:30, yes.
Rats with big long tails. Okay, thank you. We stand adjourned.